The Lolo Body Bar by Barmaids is an addictive and oh so decadent head-to-toe moisturizer made with all natural skin-loving butters and oils. This amazing bar is most definitely one item that belongs in every fiber artist's stash. Working with yarns and fibers can be so rewarding even while it steals your moisture and leaves you raw. Lolo by Barmaids is luxurious, creamy, smooth, and so good for your skin. It's easy to use, and there's never any leftover residue that could destroy your latest masterpiece. Protect and soothe your capable, beautiful, creative hands. Trust me, just try the Lolo Bar. The results speak for themselves. Hi, and welcome to Knitting Blooms. Today is Saturday, March 3rd, and this is episode number 45. Welcome to the show. I hope everybody is doing well this week. I want to start the show by thanking everybody for a number of things this week. For the comments on Ravelry regarding how I should announce my projects, to just people in general getting in contact with me this week, for the iTunes reviews and star ratings. Sorry, it's early and I haven't even had a sip of my coffee yet. So let me do that. And I can already see Crystal is going to be a little bit of a pain this morning. There's a tiny bit of yarn sticking out of a bin and she's playing with it and trying to eat it. Okay, now have my coffee. Well, a sip. It's early. It's about 8 o'clock, and in about 2 hours I'm going to have a house full of knitters because we have club today. So I wanted to get this out of the way so I could get it processed and hopefully to the point of export by the time people start arriving. So there's not going to be much editing in this show. There's not going to be your little banners at the bottom today, just because I want to try and hurry up and get it out. So if there's anything that you come across that you need more information, please feel free to send me a message on Ravelry or what have you, or on the blog. So again, I want to thank everybody for getting in contact this week. I really enjoy hearing from you guys, whether it's just to say that you like the show or to provide a comment. I love hearing from everybody, so please, if you have something you'd like to share, get in contact with me either on Ravelry, or you can email me at knittingblooms@gmail.com. There's so many ways to get in touch with me. You can do it right on the blog, whatever. So this week, and I'm thinking maybe, well, I'm hoping that this week is going to be a short episode, but I think March is going to be hard for me to have a long episode, mostly because almost everything that I will be knitting in March is going to be knitting for hire. And as I'm sure other knitters know who are knitting a project that they haven't chosen, that they're not really inspired by, it's going to be hard for me to talk about the project unless I'm having a real flub up or there's some major thing about it. So I'm going to show you the projects that I've started today, and I probably, unless there's something that happens during the week that makes me think I got to talk about this, I'm probably not going to bring them up again until possibly when they're done. So I'll probably only have 2 works in progress every week this month, because I am working on the March Madness as well as a mystery shawl that I just started. So we'll see how it goes. We'll try and keep it 2 shorter episodes in March. But this week I have had distractions. And if the distractions were working out, I wouldn't feel so bad, because I haven't worked out in a while. Come on up here, Crystal. And I really need to get back to that. In fact, I'm making a commitment to myself that starting on Monday, I am going to get back into my workouts. I would like to work out for an hour and a half every single day, hour and a half to 2 hours. We'll see how that goes, considering the fact that pretty much since the beginning of the year, haven't done too much of anything. I mean, I've done some running and walking and stuff, but not a whole lot, and not like I was before. So I'm kind of a little bit out of shape, and if I want to take off the 10 to 15 pounds that I want to take off, that's not going to happen unless I start working out and eating right too, because the 6 mini fun-sized chocolate bars that I ate at work yesterday did not help my diet at all. But that's not what's been distracting me this week. This week, I have got the design bug. For a while now, I have been wanting to design a lace shawl. Now, I think I've only knit maybe 3 true lace shawls, and really they weren't even true lace. They were, most of them were fingering weight. I don't mean I want to knit a true lace with lace yarn, but I'd like to design a lace charting design with fingering weight yarn. I should put it that way. But I'm not sure that I've had enough exposure to it. I think I could do it, but I'm not sure about the construction. I've been making lots of drawings, and I don't really want to just pull something out of a stitch dictionary, although that would probably be the easiest way to do it. So I've been making lots of notes this week, and it probably is going to be a very long process for me because I haven't knit very many shawls, and I don't really have a whole lot to go on. So that's one of the things that has been distracting me this week from knitting. Another thing that has distracted me, and it goes in the same line as designing, however, it's digital design. I purchased a copy of Adobe Illustrator this week so that I can make minor changes to my logos that were created by Lemon Half Beck. And she has done a wonderful design for me for both Knitting Blooms and also Knittopia. However, there's times when I just want to change up the color a little bit, and it just makes it easier to have a program that she's using on her end to design it. So I've been messing around with that and trying to learn how to tweak things, and just tweak things a little bit here and there, and that has taken up a lot of my time. That is a very robust program for designing, and I've worked with other digital design programs before, and I guess I haven't spent enough time working with them to really get comfortable with them, but I think Illustrator is going to be my go-to from now on, and I really want to learn how to use it properly. And possibly do some digital design myself, but when I can just contact Beck, it's so much easier. So that's the second thing that's been distracting me this week. The third thing, yes, is Knit Companion. We talked about this a few weeks ago, where I had downloaded the new app for the iPhone. And I really had not had a chance to play with it, and I had not purchased the full version. Well, I did purchase the full version yesterday, actually Thursday, and started to play with it. Well, I am one who does not like to read directions, and I was getting so frustrated because I could not figure out how to get a PDF into the software. Now, that could be my newness to the iPhone as well, because once I read the directions and I saw that you just have to click on the open in button, it was fine. But I didn't know about that open in button because I never clicked it before. So yesterday it was Thursday, when I finally actually figured out how to import the PDF. I was playing around with it, and this program is amazing. Rebecca, I think it's Rebecca. Yeah, Rebecca from the Wexford Knits podcast. She did an excellent review on Knit Companion. I think it was last week's episode. So I'm not going to do a full review, but I just wanted to mention a couple of things that I thought was really cool. First of all, it's going to be an awesome program for the iPad. Yes, you can use it on your iPhone. It is not as easy to use on the iPhone because of the small screen. And I want to see if I can pull up something really quick, because I started to use it last night for the mystery shawl. No. For the mystery shawl. And chart A was fine, because I think chart A is only, 27 stitches across. And when I went to chart B, even when I close all of the extra things, it's very hard to see. And I'm just gonna, if you don't want to see the chart, don't look, but I'm just gonna try and show you. It might look huge. If you're watching me on a 55-inch TV, it might look huge. But when you're trying to look at this while you're knitting, it's awfully small. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you have charts that are only 12 to 15 stitches wide, it probably works fine. Because when I go on the other chart, chart A, and then close that back up again, it's so much bigger. So, and I read this. I was able to put this on there and put my little marker. How do I get that marker back? Oh, there we go. And put my little highlight marker on there like that, and follow the rows up. But the other chart that was a little wider, not so easy to do on the iPhone. However, on the iPad, I think it'll be perfect and definitely doable. The things that I've liked about this program so far, and again, I haven't read a lot of the directions. I've only been playing with it on my own. I did watch the very first tutorial because I had hoped that they would tell me how to import the PDF, which they didn't, but I got a lot of cool information in the process. They do have, 3 or 4, maybe even 5 little mini tutorials on how to use the software on the website. But in the first tutorial, I found out that you can mark where you have lifelines, which is cool. So you don't have to remember which row you have your lifeline on if you put a lifeline in for lace, because you can mark it, that you have a lifeline at that particular section. And I think I'm going to sneeze. You can also mark where you have your stitch markers. So if you, I can't think on a flat triangular lace shawl, I can't think of where I might put a stitch marker, but you can mark where you put your stitch markers. And one thing I liked is in the text, like if you're knitting a sweater and you have 4 or 5 different sizes for your sweater, you can highlight and mark which one you're using. When I knit something and I have a paper copy, I go through and I circle all of my size so that when I get to that line on the pattern, I don't accidentally pick up the wrong number of stitches. Like if it says knit so many stitches for the different sizes, I think that is totally cool. Also, which I didn't write down, but falls in line with the same thing as like stitch marker, is when you're knitting socks, you can mark where if you're doing socks on a double points, you can mark where your double points start and stop. So I thought that was very cool. And again, I haven't played with it too much. I've only put 2 patterns into the software and set them up on the iPhone. I think I will use it a lot more once I get the iPad, because I think it'll definitely be something that I use a lot, especially if I'm going digital with everything, which is what I've been trying to do this week and has worked out fairly well so far. I haven't had to carry the patterns until the pattern for this mystery shawl, because it had a larger chart. And why do I want to struggle? I don't. So those have been my distractions this week. Not really good distractions, but distractions nonetheless. So let's talk about knitting. I have a finished object, and you might see that I have my citron on. Let me talk about that first. So last week I didn't have my citron blocked. This week I do, and I love it. I used the Infinity wires like I had said I was going to, and I used the lace blocking wires. And here's Infinity is the name of the company. And I used the lace, and they were definitely magical. I don't think I used them to their full potential, because the citron is just a semicircle. And so what I did was I laced the blocking wire through every stitch on the edge. And that was great. And I thought I would have to pin it down, but the blocking wires alone just helped me to be able to shape that semicircle nice and straight. And I didn't pin it down. And one of the main reasons I didn't pin it down is because I figured if I pinned it down, I would be stretching it like crazy. Excuse me. And I didn't want to lose the pucker sections on, and I don't know, I can't see the puckers very well, but I'm hoping that on a better screen you'll be able to see them. But I did try and leave the puckers as puckery as possible. They did flatten out quite a bit though. But again, I did not get to use these to their full potential because I didn't have any scallops or anything like that. So there are a couple shawls that I'm planning on knitting in the near future that have different kinds of scallops and edgings and stuff like that. Not just points, but actual scallops. So I'm hoping that when I knit those, I will be able to use them to their full potential. I did definitely see a need for the longer wires. On the outside bottom edge of this shawl, I used 4 of the wires. And I think the ultra long ones are twice as long. So I'm definitely going to be purchasing the ultra long ones because I definitely have some large shawls in my future, and it would make blocking those shawls a lot easier. So yay for Infinity wires. And again, these are the ultra blocking wires by Infinity, and they have an Etsy shop. And the Etsy shop is, actually, they just have their website, which is www.inspinity. That's INSPINKNITY.com. So, yay for Infinity wires. The next thing I have is my Lady Eleanor. Done, off the needles, and huge. I did not put a border on it yet. I did not put fringe on it. I do not have enough for fringe, and I probably don't have enough of this yarn for the border, because I was pretty sure that I wasn't going to put a border on it, so I tried to make it as long as possible. And it's big. And it is so warm. I almost wore it today, but I thought I would get too hot today at club. But it is gorgeous. It is larger than my wingspan, and it's about 24 to 30 inches deep. I didn't measure it. And I didn't have to do much blocking on this either. I soaked it, and then I just laid it flat. And it turned out beautifully. I am planning on wearing it something like this, where I have a shawl pin on my shoulder. But I think I want a big chunky wood shawl pin, because it is kind of a chunkier shawl. And this little shawl pin, which I believe is Ruby Vegas Designs, is probably not strong enough for the weight of this shawl. So, that's my plan, is to get a big chunky wood shawl pin. And I think Knit Picks might sell some of those, because my mother was looking for a shawl pin recently, and that's kind of what she was looking for. She was looking for a wooden pin, and I told her, I said, she just wanted to wear around the house, or in her sunroom, where she gets kind of a breeze a little bit. And I told her, I said, well, if you're just going to wear it at home, just stick a double-pointed needle in there. She's like, oh, okay. So, but she was looking for a wood one, and I mentioned the Knit Picks to her. So, yeah, I'm excited. Unfortunately, it's almost spring, and which means I might not be able to get much wear out of it this year. But I'm just glad that it's done. That means that I finished all 4 of my projects that I wanted to finish in February. I amaze myself. I really do. I guess I shouldn't amaze myself, because really anything that I put my mind to doing, I usually do. I just have to be committed to it. And if I'm committed to it, it gets done. And that's what happened with this. And like I said, I just love it. I can't wait to wear it. And if it's cold this week, which I might just wear it as a coat kind of thing, because I think it's supposed to be in the upper 30s and 40s this week. And we have had a very, very mild winter. We are so slow at the office. However, we did have huge winds last night, so my guess is that my boss is working right now. Possibly the other guys in the office too, because we had some really high winds, and I'm sure that it had to have taken down some trees somewhere. So I guess I can expect to be busy on Monday at work. So those are my finished objects. Let's talk about works in progress. So the 2 works in progress that I'm doing this month for myself, that have nothing to do with knitting for hire, are the March Madness, which Stealth Dragon Sam from the Knit Run Dig podcast chose my yarn, and I wound it up, and there it is. And I really don't think that the camera is giving it justice. It's beautiful. And I so wanted to be able to knit Sarah's shawl. Sarah Rain Lover Knits from the Rain Lover Knits podcast. I wanted to knit her shawl with this yarn. However, her pattern calls for a size 5 needle, which for a Woolmiza type sock weight yarn, it would work. Or for socks that rock medium or heavy, it would be perfect. Lorna's laces, this is the Soulmate, and even the shepherd sock that I have, I use size 0 needles when I knit socks with that yarn. And I tried to knit this shawl on a size 5. And I did not get very far into it, and the 5 was just way too big for this yarn. So I dropped down to a size 3. And I decided this time to, well, I started knitting the pattern, because with a shawl, I don't know if you hear that, but we have a scratch pole right here for the cat, and Mickey's over here scratching on it. And I wouldn't be surprised, Crystal has been very frisky this morning, and I wouldn't be surprised if she runs up it while I'm recording today. She tends to do that. It goes all the way to the ceiling, and she runs right up it. So anyway, the shawl. I started knitting it at a size 3, and I did like the look of it in a size 3. However, I decided to stop and knit a gauge swatch just to see how my gauge compared to what she was calling for in the pattern. And in the pattern, she was calling for a 18 stitches for 4 inches. Well, I was getting 18 stitches in 3 inches, which means that my shawl would be a lot smaller, just based on the fact that I was going down 2 needle sizes. So I've decided that for this yarn, I can't use that pattern. And Sarah graciously sent it to me. It's not even a pattern she has published yet. She's working on it herself. She's writing the pattern, and she hasn't even had it tested. I am going to knit that pattern. I just need to use some different yarn, and my thought is I will use Woolmiza, because it is a sideways shawl, and it is a percentage, so that you can start at one end, weigh your yarn, and knit until you're about halfway through, and then start decreasing. And even if I use a smaller needle size, because I like the Woolmiza in like a size 4 needle, even if I use a smaller needle and I'm not getting the same size, I will still get a good size shawl with it. So that probably won't get started until maybe, well, definitely not until I'm done with the knitting for hours, which will probably be in April. But I'm definitely going to knit that pattern, just because looking at it, it looks so nice. And all the cats are down here now. So, but now I need to figure out what I'm going to do with this. And since I'm not knitting Sarah's shawl, I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and knit socks. I didn't want to knit socks because I didn't want it to be boring, but I think that's just what it's going to be. And I am going to knit some kind of a cable up the side just to give it a little bit of detail along the way. I haven't started those yet. I am going to knit them on size 0s. I'll probably start them today at club. So next week I'll have a little bit of progress to show you. So that's my first project. The second project is the mystery knit along with Knitting Like Crazy, and I am using some Woolmiza. And it is this beautiful, beautiful blue, and I am sure that you will not be able to see. There is a slight variation in the color. Not so much, I mean, definitely the camera is not going to show it. I can barely see it myself. I can see it more in the actual knitting than I can in the ball. And I'm going to show you my progress. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, if you're doing the Knitting Like Crazy March Mystery Knit Along and you don't want to see my progress, then just look away for a second. Here it is. And I haven't gotten much done. And it's hard to show you because it's lace and you know, lace looks like a balled up tissue when it's not blocked. And my stitch marker here is just marking my center stitch. It's not where I was. Love it so far. The only thing that is slowing me down a bit is the lace or patterning on the wrong side rows. Most of the time, or I should say, most of the lace patterns that I have knit to date, there's only patterning on one side, on the right side rows. So you do your patterning on the right side, and then on the wrong side, you're just purling across for the most part. There is some patterning on the wrong side rows on this, so it is slowing me down a bit, only because I can't easily read my knitting from the wrong side. I have to keep flipping it over, or I have to count the number of stitches that I have to do before I get to that stitch. So that's slowing me down a bit. Otherwise, I could pretty much just do it and know exactly where, because where you do your decreases on the wrong side rows, it stands out. You can definitely see where they are. It's just hard to see from the back side. You can see them from the front side. So far I'm enjoying this. Clue number 1 is pretty big. It's well, each chart A and chart B are both 12 rows, and you do each of them 3 times. So how many is that? 60? Something like that. So that's like 60 rows. I did this yesterday, just quickly at work. I started it and then got this far and then had lunch. And I was going to start the next chart, but I decided I wanted to try that Sarah shawl pattern out with that yarn, and that's when I found out it just wasn't going to work. So I hope to work on this today at club. However, I probably will be primarily working on my knitting for hire at club, only because the knitting for hire is very simple, which is another reason why it would be boring to show you every week, but I'm going to show you this week. So those 2 projects, and I did print out, like I said, I did print out the chart for the Mystery Knit Along, because the phone is just too small to be viewing that on there. So that's that. So let's talk about the knitting for hire. I'm going to show you the pictures because they don't look like much. The first one that I'm doing is a just a simple shawl, and I don't know if these are, one of these I know is a free pattern. This is the first one, and it is the Beatrix, I don't know, that's the name of the pattern that I'm doing. And this is, I think that this pattern is linked on Ravelry. I don't know if it is a free pattern or not. But it is basic garter stitch. And I actually started this a while ago. I just have never shown you because it's kind of boring. It's lace. It is lace weight yarn. And it just looks like nothing. I mean, really, it looks like nothing. I think it's going to be beautiful and airy and everything when it's done. However, right now, it looks like spaghetti noodles. This marker is actually how much I knit on this week. The other stuff I had done before that. And my stomach is growling because I did not eat breakfast before I sat down. I was thinking, oh, I'll just wait till after I record to eat. My stomach has other plans. Anyway, so this is going to be a long, long process because this shawl is 800 yards. It's one of those shawls where you knit until you're almost out of yarn. I think they recommend that you save about 3 yards. Oh no, 12, when you have about 12 yards left. They say knit till you have about 12 yards left and then bind off. So, yeah. Not very exciting to look at. I am using my signature needles. I started these on Knit Picks and I just felt like it was a little too slippery, so the little stickiness of the Knit Picks is working well for me. The yarn is, this is the yarn. I'm not going to even try and pronounce it because I'm terrible at pronouncing names of yarn. It is 100% alpaca, and each ball is 400 meters, which is about 440 yards. And there's 2 balls. So it's going to be about 880 yards of lace. Not the most exciting thing to do, but definitely easy to get through. It's just going to take forever. I knew that this particular pattern was going to take a long time, which is why I started it already. I haven't got much work on it, and I'm hoping that I can keep motivated enough to continue to work on it, because I'm still hoping to have it done at the end of the month. So that's number 1. Number 2 is the Dark Side Cowl. And this one I know is on Ravelry, and it is a free pattern. And there's a close-up of it. And you can see the patterning. I have started this. It is in, I don't know what kind of yarn. I think it's an alpaca. I didn't keep the ball band in my bag. There's actually 3 skeins. It's a kind of like a charcoal gray color. And I'm knitting it on size 7. And I'm not very far along. You can kind of see the patterning a little bit on there. Not much. It's very easy to do. It's a very easy knit. It's very springy yarn. I'm not sure I like how I did the cast on. I'm going to look at this a little bit longer, but I very much might rip it back and do it again because the cast on is very loopy. I did a knitted cast on, which most of the time I do a long tail cast on, and I probably am going to rip it back because I don't really like this edge on it. It's, I don't know. I'm probably going to rip it back because it's a knitting for hire. I want it to look nice. It doesn't really tell you in the pattern. I don't think it tells you how to do your cast on. It just says cast on, 88 stitches and join it around. But I'm not liking how this is turning out, so this is only a couple hours worth of work, so I might just take it out and start again on that one. And again, that's the Dark Side Cowl, and that is on Ravelry. And the last one that I've started, again, I have 1, 2, 3, I think 4 more after this. But these are just 3 of the ones that I've started. The next one is the Biased Stole, and there's a picture of it. And I don't know if this is on Ravelry or not. It's on Ravelry. I don't know if the pattern is available on Ravelry. But it's a very simple one again. It's all garter stitch with a little bit of shaping. And it's not much to look at in the on the needles. It's kind of like the other one. That's just garter stitch. So that's another reason why I'm not going to show it to you every week, because who wants to see it? And again, I don't have the yarn with me, but I think it's the same yarn that's called for in the pattern, which is La Boheme. It's right there. And it's Fiesta Yarns, and it is 100% rayon. Oh, because there's two strands. The first strand is 100% rayon. The second strand is 64% brushed kid mohair, 28% wool, and 8% nylon. And this is a total of 8 ounces. And I'm using a size 17 needle. I never have used these needles. I don't think. I think the largest needle that I typically use is 13, and that's for slippers. 17, people. It's going quick. I just started this earlier this week, so I'm already halfway done with it. I have been working on it a lot because, again, it's another one of those projects where it's not too exciting to knit on, but it's got to get done. So, again, that's the Bias Stole. And I'm just going to plug through these Knitting for Hires this month. Man, my stomach is really growling. I better hurry up so I can go feed it. So I'm really going to plug through these Knitting for Hires this month. I just want to get them done out of the way before I leave for Knittopia. So I can just sit back and relax and just knit on whatever I want at Knittopia. So let's talk about spinning. I am working on, again, sorry for the crinkle, the Giggle Jelly fluff for my mom. I did not take the bobbin off the wheel today, but here's my cardigan. And I am planning on 3-plying it. I have a total of 12 ounces of it. So far it's going well. I love it. So far I am loving it. I love how the sample came out. This is the sample piece. And it's a bright cherry color. I wouldn't say, maybe it's not bright. It's definitely cherry color. And it's gorgeous. And I've been spinning on that a little bit every night. And having fun with it. And I did start something on my Sidekick. Remember last week when I showed you this? This is Fat Cat Knits in their Daisy Cakes colorway, and I got 6 ounces of this. It looks gorgeous. It looks gorgeous online. It looks gorgeous in my project, in my stash pictures, and it looks gorgeous right here. I'm very nervous about this pink. This pink is so bright, and again, I think that it would dull it down a little bit once it's plied together. However, last week I talked about possibly plying it with a natural to see how it came out. And I did just that. I spun up about 80, well, it wasn't about 80 grams. It was about 10 grams of yarn, of fiber. 10 grams of this and 20 grams of a natural, because I wanted to 3-ply and see how it looked. And this is how it came out. And I love it. This reminds me of saltwater taffy. And it breaks up the colors. So the color is only 1 strand of color and then 2 strands of natural. And I love it. And I think that I'm going to do the entire thing this way. This is the first time that I have done this. When I have knit other fibers, I just say, okay, before I even start them, I say, I'm just going to 2-ply it or I'm going to 3-ply it pretty much. I decide that. And then go. This one, I just wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. So I decided I was going to knit up a sample. I've never done the sample thing before. I think a lot of people do it. A lot of people who have been spinning for a long time do it. I've never done it before. I did it with this. I don't have any idea how many yards this is. I would guess probably about 40 yards of a fingering weight. But I think I'm going to do this whole thing like this. I have 6 ounces of this, and I have plenty of Polworth. This is actually Falkland, but I'm actually going to ply it with a Polworth because I don't have any Falkland natural. But I love it. I don't have any clue what I'm going to make with it once it's done, but it will be fun. It would definitely make some very cute baby socks, maybe a baby sweater. I would definitely not want to do an Afghan with fingering weight yarn, but I'm not sure what I'll do with it. I will probably make socks for myself and then probably save some for something else. Or maybe I need to try and see if I can spin it a little thicker so that I can make some baby items with it. I'm not sure. I'll have to see what I can figure out. Might have to do some more testing. But I do like it plied with the natural. Because it does break up that bright color. So that's what I've been doing this week. And I do like spinning the Falkland. It's a little stickier than, say, BFL and even Polworth. But that could just be the dyeing process. So that's going to be worked on my sidekick. Okay. Let's talk about stash enhancement. I got 2 things this week. Actually, I got more things than 2, but I got 2 packages. The first one I got is some Skinny Bugga. This is my first skein ever of Skinny Bugga, and it's the new company. Cody! Just one moment, please. Cody is scratching on the TV. Okay, sorry about that. This could be why we didn't put the fireplace in front of the TV before. Because Cody was up on the mantle, and he does this thing where he's kind of, not scratches, but just kind of bats at glass and something that he can see his reflection in. Well, he was just up there and doing that on the TV. If my husband saw him do that, the cat would be dead now. We don't want that to happen. Okay. Back to Skinny Bugga. So again, this is the new company, and I have no idea how to pronounce it. It's one of the new companies. Sam and Griffin split, and they're both carrying the Bugga. And I just happened to go to this particular website because the March Mystery Shawl, which I'm doing, calls for Bugga, for Skinny Bugga. And she has it linked to this particular site. So I went there, I bought some, and now I see why everybody is so excited about it. It is more expensive. I think that this skein was $28. It's superwash. It's 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. It's 450 yards, and it is really nice. And the colorway is, this particular color is Purple Soldier Fly. I think it's purple. It's kind of stamped weird. Anyway, it's gorgeous. The color on the screen is more blue than it actually is. It's actually very purple. And I like it. I didn't use this one for my mystery shawl because I wasn't sure if it was going to arrive in time, and I decided to pick some Woolmeise because I loved working with the Woolmeise before. But I can definitely see that I will be buying more of the Skinny Bugga and possibly some of the Bugga as well, because the Bugga I think is a DK or sport weight, and I would definitely want to make a sweater with it. So I got that. And then I got my Into the World. And this was the completely twisted and arbitrary group. They had 2 months of basically a club that Into the World was dying for them. And Wendy from the Knit One Heart 2 podcast showed this on her podcast last week, or 2 weeks ago maybe. A couple weeks, I don't know. And I fell in love with it. So I bought it. They had another run of it. They had another color that was pinks and bright colors, turquoise and everything, and I almost bought that. But when Wendy showed this on her podcast, I fell in love with it. So even though I went back and forth on which one I was going to order, I decided to go ahead, and order this one to take me out of my comfort zone a little bit, because I did love it. And there is a little bit of purple in there. For some reason, the camera just doesn't show purple. But there's some purple right here. And it's blues and grays. The camera definitely doesn't do it justice. But Wendy also got the coordinating color that went with it. And so did I. This is the blue. It's kind of like a muted navy blue with some grays. It's kind of a purpley blue, but I couldn't decide, so I got the other matching color too, which is more of a green. Now, my skein or my bat or my whatever this is doesn't have a whole lot of green in it. You see a little bit of green here and a little bit of green up here. Here's a lighter goldish green down here. But in the bag, it doesn't look like it's got a whole lot of green. So my thought is that I will take the blue and the bat together, and I'll spin this and then ply it. I'll probably just use this separate because I don't know. I think it'll muddy up this too much. But we'll see. Maybe when I take it out of the bag and open it up, it'll be a whole nother story. But definitely these two are going together to be spun together. Single of this and single of this, and then plied together. And then possibly I'll just spin this up and use this as something else. It's a very pretty gray-green. The camera is not doing it justice. At least on the little screen that I'm looking at is not doing it justice. So that's my enabling this week. And I'm hoping that will be all the enabling for a while. I have completely maxed out my cabinets. Actually, I do have a tiny bit of space on the top shelf for some cotton, but I'm not going to buy any cotton yet. So, my stomach is really growling. I already did the drawings for the Barmaids, the February Knit Your Stash, and the Finish It or Frog It February. So I can't show you the number generator because I had 3 of them. What are we doing over here? Cody and Mickey are stalking one another. Okay, so the barmaids. The This week it was a drawing for a travel pack, and number 45, Patty Sand, Ravelry named Patty Sand, is the winner, and that's Patty from Fairbanks, Alaska, I think. So congratulations, Patty. Contact me on Ravelry, PM me, and I will let you know how to get your travel pack. And speaking of barmaids, they have gotten such good response from their sponsorship on the podcast that they have decided to continue the sponsorship. And next week we will have a drawing for $15 off your order. So I will post a new thread this morning, hopefully, before the podcast goes live. And you can enter to win $15 off. So then you can get lots of different products from them, because they have awesome, awesome products. I still cannot get over how soft my skin is and how much it holds in the moisture now that I use it as a body bar rather than just on my hands for my knitting. So congratulations, Patty. Get in contact with me and I will get that code to you. The next one is for the February Knit Your Stash Challenge. And unfortunately this month I was trying to get this ready early, so I didn't go through and add up how many people joined and how many people finished and all of that. I will try and get that up in the show notes when I post them tomorrow. But I didn't add those up now because I was trying to just be in a hurry and get this recorded. So the person who's winning that is going to win this book, which is Family Knits. It's 25 patterns for the family for all seasons. And there are some really cute ones. It's by Debbie Bliss. There's some really cute patterns in here. Very cute. A colorwork hat, a cabled scarf, a little seed stitch beret, a very cool cable and rib sweater. I'll show you that one real quick. It's hard to see in the picture, but there is cable and ribbing. That is very, very cool. The construction is very interesting. I might have to make that one myself. Yeah, so there's lots and lots of different patterns in here that are very cool, and for all different, for children to adult, male and female, and what have you. So the winner of that is number 5, Crafty Deb, and that's Debbie from Ashland, Kentucky. So congratulations, Debbie. Get in contact with me on Ravelry and send me your address, and I will get this book off to you. Okie dokie. The next one is for the Finish or Frog It February, and that person is going to win this book. It's all about books this week. And this is the Easy Knitted Accessories, and there are lots of cool things. I mean, especially just this hat on the front cover. I really like that. There's shawls, bags. My stomach's growling again. I need to talk over it so that you guys don't hear the stomach growling. Usually it doesn't do that. Usually on a Saturday morning when I get up and watch podcasts in the morning, there's all sorts of nice, neat things in here. Gloves and leg warmers and scarves and hats. They're all accessories. Socks and purses and little shrugs, mittens. Oh, these are cute mittens with the little beads on them. Very cute. But it's all knitted accessories. And they have, looks like they have a nice section in the front with like some techniques and stuff like that. So the person who is winning this prize is number 12, Allison J. from Ontario. So congratulations, Allison. You get this book. So just get in contact with me and I will get those shipped out to you guys. One last thing I want to mention is the charity for this week. And I've mentioned them before. The Erin from Mama Needs Yarns doing autism. Melissa Meliabella from the His and Hers podcast is doing the Susan G. Komen walk. Sarah Rainlover from the Rainlover Knits podcast is doing the Avon walk. And then there's the Yen for Yarn. All of those links are already on the show notes. I will continue to link them in the show. The new one this week is the 3 Irish girls. Let's see. Knitting Amy K contacted me to make me aware of this fundraiser. The 3 Irish girls are doing a special colorway and are donating 20% of the cost of the yarn to a program called SHARE, which is to help parents who are grieving the loss of their children after miscarriage, neonatal loss, or other losses from disease and cancers. They are dyeing a special colorway, and they will be shipping. It's currently on pre-order, and then they will be shipping in mid-April. I believe the cost of the yarn, I looked at it because it's a very pretty color. I believe the cost of the yarn is $22, and I want to say they have different bases, but now that it's been a couple of days since I looked at it. I am planning on ordering a skein for myself, and I will probably order an extra skein for a prize in the future. But I guess last year they were able to raise about $2,500 for the cause, and I will include a link to the yarn in the show notes. And I guess they also have a blog post about it. I'm just going to jump over to the, yeah, you can choose from several different yarns. Adorned socks, a merino that I can't pronounce. Yeah, a bunch of different bases that they have. So definitely check out that charity as well. Like I said, I am planning on ordering some myself. Let me see if I can get a decent shot of this yarn so I can show you. And it's the camera is not going to do it justice, but it is very, very, very pretty. It's blues and purples with a little bit, looks like a little bit of green and yellow splashed in there. It's gorgeous. I'll have the link in the show notes, and you can go take a look at it for yourself in real life. Well, in real life on the computer, not via camera. So those are the charities for this week, and that is all I have. And it's now 9 o'clock. So not a short episode after all, but like I said, I think the next few weeks are going to be a little shorter because I'm not going to be talking too much about the knitting for hire, because there's not a whole lot to show with it. I will show you when I start new projects, and I'll show you when I finish them if you want to see that. But that's it. I'm going to have a bunch of knitters here in about an hour, and I'll be knitting all day. So I will talk to you next week. Bye for now.